Yo, it's me, CSCOTT, baby, and welcome to the first episode of Short Lived, where I take a TV show that lasted one, maybe two seasons before getting canceled, and I talk about it. Couple things. One, not gonna do a video on Series 12 of Doctor Who. And just, much like the premiere, it's hard for me to explain. And I'm sitting there, usually when I watch a movie, I sit there and I'll try to figure out what I'm going to say about it, you know? And I can get things going in my head. But for Doctor Who, it's kind of weird to talk about. To quote the Doctor, it's wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. It's hard to talk about. So I won't be doing that. Two, my voice is going out. It's getting late. My voice is going out, so I apologize. Try my best. And three, for these videos, most of the time I'm going to spoil stuff. So spoiler alert for that. But for this video, I'm not going to. Because I haven't finished watching this show. I want people to be able to watch this and not know too much about it. Go in and just, watch this show because it's great. I know some people might think, oh, well, the rest, why even watch it if the show was canceled? It's a great show, all right? So, let's talk about this now. It came out last year, 2019, and it was originally going to be 13 episodes. And originally they were planning for 3 seasons and then to spin it off to Justice League Dark. And you could sort of see that in this show. They were building towards something like that. But it was shortened from 13 to 10 episodes. And then after the first episode premiered, it was canceled. They just canceled it for some reason. And they're not, all right, bring it back, I guess. The one question I have is how would they do a Justice League Dark episode without Constantine? Because John Constantine, this guy here, is currently on Legends of Tomorrow. So it'd be kind of hard for him to be a part of that. I don't know. But guys, I originally wasn't going to buy this because I had it in my mind, oh, it was canceled, it's probably not that good. This show is great. I think it holds a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, oh. So going in to watch this, share my experience with this. Going in to watch it, I had no idea. I knew it was might be creepy. I had no idea it would have so many horror elements to it. I guess it's a horror show. It's a horror TV series. I didn't know that. And watching, I got about 5 episodes in, and I'm going, this show was really good with horror. Maybe less than 5. 3 or 4 episodes in, I'm like, this show is really good with horror. It's really got a horror edge to it. There's a lot of, horror stuff to it. People get killed. It's very good for a horror. It's a very good horror TV series. And you think about the Swamp Thing, a man turned into a creature. Yeah, it's a horrifying. So it kind of brings back to that Universal monster thing, like the Frankenstein monster. People are scared because of how he looks. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. And I'm like, okay. The horror they do in this is very good. The atmosphere. There's a lot of times where it's thunderstorms. Most of the stuff when it happens is in the dark. And that's great. Like, whoever is in charge of this knows horror. And then the day I'm watching, and I happen to see in the credits, Like, I'm on the second disc. It's like the second episode of the second disc. It's like episode 6. And I see the name Gary Dauberman. I'm like, Gary Dauberman. Wait, he was a writer for the Conjuring universe. He directed Annabelle Comes Home. Huh. Couple more names go by, and then I see it. Something that made me go, executive producer, James Wan. That got me. I'm like, now I get it. That's why the horror elements are so good, because it's James Wan. Before I get into talking about the show itself, I'm going to talk about like elements around it. Like I said, horror elements are great. There's a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff that happens with the creatures and the swamp things like that, it's in the dark, or it's raining, most stuff is like that. The effects in this, Swamp Man is performed by Derek Mears, and he's in a full suit. There's some CGI to it, I think. Like, it has to be for like tentacles and stuff. And most of that is done in the dark so that it works. But there is sometimes when it's a little more obvious than others. And you get that CGI in your face, just like, ooh. But it's TV budget, so you gotta be a little, iffy on. You gotta be a little lenient with that. The acting in this is terrific, and you got some good horror actors in this. You have Will Patton, who was in Halloween 2018, Virginia Madsen, who was in Candyman, Andy Bean, who was in It Chapter 2. He played the older version of Stanley. Jennifer Beals, who was in The Grudge 2, which is my favorite of the franchise, by the way. Yes, I'm serious. Who else? Ian Ziering, which I don't know if you count Sharknado as a horror film, but he was in Sharknado. Kevin Durand was on Lost, and was he in any horror movies? Resident Evil. He played that sandwich guy. I forget his name, but in the game he said it's a sandwich or something like that. I don't know, but he played that guy. Bernie, but I don't know. I'm not a Resident Evil guy, but I know he was in like 4th one, I think, or 5th one, 1 or 2. And yeah. There's a lot of horror alumni in this. And their acting is great. Especially Will Patton. My God. Let me tell you. His range in this can go from nice guy to sadistic guy. Little, snake in the grass type guy. To sad and in a panic guy. To evil villain. Like that. Like, there's moments where he's like that. You introduce him, he's a nice guy sheriff. And then there's other times he's a sadistic guy who hides around and does shady dealings. Then there's a sensitive side where he's showing it. He's shown visions of his dad's death, and he's yelling out, "Dad! Dad! Dad!" And then there's evil villain things where he's killing people and doing things that a villain would do. He is great in this. Virginia Madsen's pretty good. All the actors in this are very good. Ian Ziering, my God, he's not just the Sharknado guy or the blonde douche guy from 90210. He is good in this. There's a part where he is infected with something, and his acting with the whole thing, it's great. It's great. It's wonderful. Derek Mears. Usually Derek Mears wouldn't play a character that talks too much. I mean, he talked a little bit in The Flash, but here, this is a second DC show. He is great as this tortured soul, just wanting to know what he is, wanting to know what happened to him, wanting to know why he exists. Wonderful. Let's get into the show itself. The story. Alec Holland is working for a guy. Will Patton's character, Avery Sunderland, is paying him to do. They're going to collect samples from the local swamp in Murray, Louisiana. Yeah, and there's Arcane. Abby Arcane, the CDC, she used to live there. And she comes in because people have contracted what they call the green flu from the swamp. And she's coming in to try to see if she can stop it. That plot line, it's not really a spoiler. It doesn't last long. A couple episodes, 2-3 tops, that kind of goes away, and they focus on the rest of the rest of the series, and so sorry. Alec is murdered, and that's not a spoiler. It's on the Wikipedia page. It's kind of on the back here. But it's not really a spoiler. He gets murdered, and his body falls into the swamp, and he turns into Swamp Thing. And there's stuff that happens with that. I'm not going to spoil that, but he becomes this tortured soul. And he has this connection to Abby. And while the CDC does eventually leave, she stays because of the connection. She has a connection to the Sunderlands. She has a connection to the community. She has a friend who's a reporter. She has this big connection. She's basically the main character. It's called Swamp Thing, but Abby Arcane is the main character. As the show mainly revolves around her, but the Swamp Thing's showing up here and there. Don't go in thinking you're going to see a big green monster fighting bad guys. That's not what it is. It's about a tortured soul trying to figure out what he is. The human friend, the human ally of this tortured soul, trying to help him find out. Even Sunderland, Avery Sunderland, played by Will Patton, he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he hires Jason Woodrue, which you know the comics, is the Floronic Man. He's in Batman and Harley Quinn, which I'm going to review soon. I'm going to do Justice League Dark, I'm going to do Harley Quinn, Batman and Harley Quinn, maybe The Killing Joke. I'm going to try to do more like superhero-based stuff as well, but I got, this to take care of, and then Leprechaun. But, he will eventually become the Floronic Man. And while it credits him as Floronic Man, I'll tell you right now, he doesn't really become the Floronic Man. Not, maybe he would have down the line. His experiments are certainly leading it to. But he's played by Kevin Durant, and he does a fantastic job. I'm telling you, this show is awesome. And is there a cliffhanger? Not really. I mean, there's certainly plot threads that could continue in future seasons if they had kept it. But it's not like a big cliffhanger where, oh my god, we gotta find out what happens. No, it's just like they set some things up. Oh, we can do this, we can do that. And then, we're not going to see what happens, but, it's not like big, this is what's going to happen. It's like, they could go this direction, they could go that direction. It's not a concrete, this is what's going to happen, so stay tuned, and there's nothing. It's not like that. Just to go into one episode, to show you, like, the gore, the horror and gore part of this. There's an episode where there's this infection of something. It's like it's a fear disease or something. It's only one episode. It's like a monster of the week type thing, where these guys are out he got one guy gets infected. He works at the diner where the reporter's father owns, or the bar, whatever. And he's in there trying to do the dishes, and he sees there's a snake wrapped around his hand, but only he can see it because it causes fear. So that's what he's afraid of, and he grabs a knife and he just starts stabbing it. But there's no snake. He's just stabbing his arm, and I thought that's just a fucking awesome scene where, to them, he's just stabbing his arm, but he sees a snake, and that gets infected and makes other people see other things. I'm not going to go into spoiling it, but I thought that scene was awesome. And like I said, Derek Mears' performance is awesome. The dog performance is awesome. I can't say anything more. This is awesome. So, usually I don't rate my TV series, but this is going to be different. For the short-lived, I'm actually going to do a rating, but it's not 1 through 10. A to F, or F to A. F being bad, A being, top tier. I'd like a C plus or a D plus or B. No, just A, B, C, D, F. No, E. This show gets an A. Definitely. Swamp Thing gets an A from me. Alright? Go buy the DVD. Or the Blu-ray. Or go watch it on DC Universe. I don't care. Watch this show. It's very good. I'm going to eventually, I have to see if it's still on the CW app or the CW Seed app, whatever. If it is, I'm going to try to do Constantine next for this series. Because I kind of want to, I've only seen a couple episodes and I stopped watching because I had other things to do. But I'm going to try to get into that and watch it. And I may do a review on the City of Demons animated thing, but that's going to be separate. It's going to be a straight review. So, yeah. So, thanks for coming to watch my first episode of Short Lived. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Like, share, and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.